Welcome to the Registered Investment Advisor Podcast, where financial services marketing expert Seth Greene interviews experts, executives, and top producers to share can't-miss tips on how they successfully manage their financial service firms, grow their businesses, create great relationships, and influence the industry. And now, here's your host, Seth Greene.
Welcome to the RIA Podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be interviewing Myles Gage from Rapunzel Investments. Rapunzel connects investors with simulated stock portfolios and stock trading competitions. Myles, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Seth. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Awesome. Well, let's go back in time. How did Rapunzel get started?
So basically, Rapunzel got started because my high school friend and I, we saw that there was kind of a gap between when people were curious about the world of investing and did it with their own money. And we saw a lot of our friends flocking to platforms, mobile platforms, because it was easier to trade, but didn't understand the fundamentals about investing. And we were like, why don't we create a mobile investing simulator that allows people to interact with the stock market, but not risk their own money?
Okay, so this, instead of, when I was getting started in my financial services career a couple of decades ago, we paper traded, right? You literally wrote it down and then watched the quotes in the newspaper and tracked it yourself with a calculator. So obviously the world's evolved a lot since then. What was your background before you guys started this?
Basically how my partner and I even got connected, we were both teen investors. So I've been investing in the stock market since I was 12, and I got exposed to that via the elementary school that I went to on the south side of Chicago. They had a finance-based curriculum. So I was always excited about financial markets, and my partner, Brian, and I, we met freshman year of high school because we were both teen investors, and it's 2008 around the time. So the markets were very exciting due to the global recession brought on by the housing market. So we saw a lot of undervalued companies that saw discounted stock prices, just given the macroeconomic impact of that event.
Well, congratulations on that. That is awesome that not only did you learn about it from a young age, but took action. How'd you learn how to build an app?
I didn't learn how to build an app. Basically, my partner, Brian, went to Amherst College in Massachusetts and was a math major and a CS minor. And I believe one of his friends had some coding experience. So I think the two of them kind of collaborated with building out like the initial prototype. And then we found a third-party developer in Canada to actually build out the beta for us. So we didn't solely build it out, but we outsourced it and then brought it back in-house.
Awesome. And then I know I did a brief one sentence about what it is. Tell us a little bit more about what Rapunzel does.
Awesome. Yeah. So Rapunzel is a simulated investing application. Essentially, we give users 10,000 fictional dollars to buy and sell stocks of publicly traded companies. That way, users can see what their returns or losses are without risking their own money. And we also allow users to separately, they can do the same thing with cryptocurrency and see how cryptocurrencies perform without actually having to risk their own money. So it's basically geared towards individuals that are curious about the world of investing in stocks or crypto, but either A, don't know where to begin, or apprehensive about putting their own money in the market.
Awesome. That makes total sense. So I can paper trade, in essence, stocks or crypto on your app. Talk about the contest application.
Yeah. So basically, we have weekly, monthly, quarterly, and year-long competitions. And we basically distribute prizes to the top 30% of performers in those respective competitions. So it's based on your percentage return over the duration of those respective competitions. So given that I mentioned that users start with $10,000, if their portfolio were to drop to $9,000 after month one, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't win the competition for the next month, because it's based on what your percentage returns are over the duration. So it incentivizes people to stay on the platform. And then what we also are kind of like tricking people to learn about investing is oftentimes people aren't great individual stock pickers. And we know that passive investing often beats active investing. And so what we typically preach is the fact that like, hey, if you were to invest in like an ETF or S&P 500, your portfolio may only be down X percent or it may be up XYZ% versus you picking these individual stocks. So it just is really cool because it exposes people to it, but also helps people understand that they may not be the best at picking individual stocks, but at the same time, you can earn some money while doing so, which can be used to start investing with actual money. You can take your prizes and buy actual stocks.
Well, that is awesome. So what type of prizes do you give away? I'm sure it varies, but give me an idea.
Yeah, so for the high school, we typically give away, like this past year, we had a $50,000 scholarship competition. And I think like the grand prize was like $5,000, but it's like we have different tiers. So it definitely varies. And there's like a delayed like payout or like it's kind of have like the DraftKings like payout structure. So like of the 10, it's not one person's just getting 5,000, but it's like the top 30% win. So it's like more people can win, even though there may be smaller prizes. So let's just say for like let's say the top performer of our month-long competition, they may win like $500 and the second place winner may win like $200 or something like that. Or for the week-long competition, there may be like $50 for the payout. And how we're able to do it is like we work with private companies and do custom competitions for their employees and also educate them like on various concepts pertaining to financial literacy or to financial markets. So we're able to charge for those services and distribute a portion of our earnings or profits from those to our users to keep them like on the app. So it kind of incentivizes them to use our platform, especially like when there are other simulators out there. So
that is awesome. You mentioned other simulators. How do you differentiate yourself?
We have real-time market data streamed directly from NASDAQ. So some of the other simulators like Investopedia, Market Watch, or even the stock market game, a lot of that information of those stock prices is delayed by a few seconds. So ours is like really like high speed, more up to date than Google Finance.
Wow, that's quite impressive. How do you get the word out about the app?
So, well, right now we're in the process of actually developing or like paying for advertisements on like various platforms. But to date, a lot of it has been pretty much word of mouth. And we've also like, we built like a database of 20,000 teachers across the country and just have been like blasting them. So that's like how we got in like for the high schools. And then for the colleges, before we like started this ad campaign, we decided that it made sense to actually go on a college road trip. So we bought a van and we painted it green with Rapunzel logos. And we drove from Chicago, where we're headquartered, to Dallas, Texas, and visited over 30 colleges. And between October of 2021 and April of 2022, we added 10,000 new users. But that was pretty much like just boots on the ground, like organic grassroots marketing there. And then we also have a referral program. So we'll give a user $1 per person that they refer, up to $250. And sometimes like if we see someone is like really crushing it, we'll say like there really isn't a limit because it's clearly you're able to get the word out. But we've seen that has kind of like led to more people downloading the platform as well.
That is awesome. How many users do you have now?
There are, I believe, 50,000 total accounts. And for monthly active users, we're about 10,000 monthly active users. And they're checking the app like 17 minutes per average every time they open the app. So they like it, which is pretty cool.
That is awesome. How do you monetize? How do you make money?
Right. So as I mentioned, we do custom competitions and custom programs for various organizations. We charge them for those respective competitions. We also work with a nonprofit too, and they're able like to solicit donations and grants from various like financial services institutions because we do competitions in underserved communities for high school students. So the nonprofit will pay a Rapunzel like a data and implementation fee for hosting that. But on top of that, it's like we're hosting these workshops and we're educating students about a lot of these concepts in greater detail. So we figured out a way to keep the lights on before, like we're making money like from, because the app itself doesn't have ads on it. So there is no advertising revenue, but we figured out ways to monetize as we also try to figure out how to grow users. So we figured.
I was going to say, there's also probably a play of taking the users who are paper trading electronically, and then, I don't know, getting an affiliate commission from E-Trade or something if they set up an account to do it for real, right?
Yeah. So no, definitely like trying to become a feeder to a brokerage platform. So we were working with a company that I will not name, but it just ultimately didn't work out, but it was supposed to be the proof of concept. But yeah, I think that will be like a nice way, because a lot of those brokerage platforms are struggling to get the 18 to 24-year-old demographics on their platform. But we've kind of built the trust of the educators. So we're in a lot of these schools. We're in over 600 schools across the country. And let's just face it, these brokerage platforms can't do it because it seems like it's too salesy, too, like you're trying to get a client, but we're coming from an education standpoint. And once you're 18, if we've like done a great job, you're ultimately going to want to open up a real brokerage platform, and then we can become a feeder to some of those platforms that already exist.
That is awesome. For our folks who are watching and listening, I know there's unique spelling, where is the best place for them to go to learn more?
Yeah, so you can go to RapunzelInvestments.com, and it's Rapunzel, Rapunzl. So it's like the fairy tale, except there's no E. We are also on social media, Instagram, Twitter at Rapunzel Investments. You really can't find us. As long as you don't put the E in there, you should be able to find Rapunzel. Check us out. The app is free. We have a full suite of financial education modules that are also accessible via web or the app itself. And it's really designed for anyone to be able to pick up regardless of your skill level to follow along.
That is awesome. Well, we greatly appreciate your time. You've built something awesome. This has been Seth Greene with Myles Gage from Rapunzel Investments. Myles, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Seth.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.